Hello and welcome to another Source Gaming discussion. I'm your host NantenJex and joining me today is Hamada.
Hey.
So I've brought Hamada here to talk about Nintendo in 2019. Obviously the year's not over yet, so this isn't really a overview or look back. This is more a look forward after the last Nintendo Direct, which gave us a whole lot of games and gave us a better idea of what Nintendo's year is going to be like. And I thought it'd be fun to kind of talk about how it's looking, what our expectations are, maybe some thoughts on some games. So just to make sure everyone is up to date on what Nintendo does have this year, so far we know that in March there's going to be Yoshi's Crafted World. In April it's Box Boy plus Box Girl. June is Mario Maker 2. July is Fire Emblem Three Houses. August is Astral Chain. And then stuff that's just tentatively 2019, we have Daemon X Machina, Luigi's Mansion, Animal Crossing Switch, Pokemon Generation 8, Link's Awakening, and possibly Bayonetta 3. They haven't said 2019, but they haven't not said 2019, so it's possible. We also have a few DLC as well, like the Smash DLC and the Captain Toad DLC. So, before we jump into all of this talk about Nintendo, Hamada, you weren't there for the Nintendo Direct stream, so I was wondering if you just wanted to give your overall thoughts on the Direct we just had.
Yeah, okay, that sounds good. Well, I think it was a solid Direct in general. While a lot of the stuff there wasn't for me, I still think it was, like, you know, a good one that had a good amount of, like, announcements, and it's also really cool whenever they do to be released later today kind of stuff. So that's always makes it a solid Direct, and having a Mario reveal and a Zelda reveal just automatically makes the Direct at least, you know, more notable than I'd say the last one. And and my favorite part about the Direct, which funnily enough my stream when I was watching it was just like interrupted, so my favorite game from it, Super Mario Maker 2, I didn't realize until after the Direct, but that's definitely my favorite. And while Link's Awakening is I'm a bit not sure about the art style. I still think I've wanted to play Link's Awakening, so I think this would be a good time to try it. So overall, solid Direct, even if I think they were a bit too much JRPGs for those who weren't interested in them, like me.
Yeah, there was a lot of JRPGs. I mean, the two highlight games were Fire Emblem and Dragon Quest. So it's not quite... I mean, they're both different types of RPGs, but that's also not very varied at all. In fact, that whole middle section with Rune Factory and Oni Niku was very RPG intensive. Yeah, and Dragon Quest Builders. Okay, so that's cool. You talked about Link's Awakening then, and how you weren't as happy with the art style when it was first revealed. So, what is it that you kind of wanted to see from that? Because Link's Awakening is one of the big games, and arguably possibly one of the biggest games. Maybe it's launching in November, an end-of-year title, because that's just generally when Zelda launches. Breath of the Wild's been like the one exception, I think. And I've seen a lot of people a bit worried that Link's Awakening might be like a full $60 game because it's a Zelda game, but Link's Awakening is so short that if they don't really add anything substantial to it, it won't feel the cost. And I just was wondering what if you sort of shared that opinion.
Well, last year I did something blasphemous and didn't buy Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee despite how much I love the Pokemon franchise, because I just wasn't really a fan of the content, how much content I said conto, which is pretty content it brought, because I didn't think it added enough on top of what was already a Game Boy game. So I do think that including a lot of what is already there is really important with these remakes, especially if it does go for the standard $60. So I might not get this remake if it's just the original with like, you know, a few added stuff and a better looking, you know, world, but so I hope it has more stuff. It kind of needs that.
Yeah, no, I'm interested to see if it has more stuff, and if it doesn't, whether or not it's going to be like an eShop game, because I don't think there's any reason why it couldn't be an eShop game. Like, a lot of people are just saying because it's a Zelda game, it must be physical, but that's not necessarily true if the game's not, like, long enough. Of course, they could make it a cheaper game like they did with Captain Toad back on the Wii U and I think the Switch as well. Like, that's kind of a budget game, so that even though they released it physical, it's cheaper than the regular title. They could do that, I suppose.
Wait, Captain Toad was cheaper? I didn't know that. Why didn't they do that with Let's Go?
Because I guess they felt like Let's Go was like a full game. Like, Captain Toad felt like it was a download game, and maybe it even was planned to be a download game at one point, but they decided to make it a cheaper physical game instead. It's not the only time they've done it. I wish I had another example to give off the top of my head, but I know that they've done it with a few other games in the past.
Oh, okay.
So, like, maybe Link's Awakening will be the same here. I mean, Switch games are already a bit expensive, so it'd probably be more like the price of a regular Wii U game was.
Yeah, probably, but I'm not going to get into the whole talk about what I thought of Let's Go because that was last year, but yeah, I definitely hope that Link's Awakening is either really bumps up the content, kind of like how Link's A Link to the Past on the GBA had 4 swords, I think, something like that. If they could do something like that, if they could do something like that just on the side they haven't announced yet, which I could definitely see, then I think it could make the $60.
Like a Triforce Heroes multiplayer mode or something. Well, actually, funnily enough, Push pointed this out on Twitter, which was pointed out to him by someone else. I think one of the Did You Know Gaming guys. The Link's Awakening did have multiplayer planned at one point, the original Game Boy game. Presumably cut for because of power and connectivity reasons, but there's like design documents of 2 Links running around and interacting with each other to help fight bosses. So maybe that is something they could bring, because the Joy-Cons for the Switch are such a good thing for 2-player mode. Like, I feel like that's why they're adding that 2-player mode into Captain Toad, because it's just so easy with the Joy-Cons. So doing the same thing with Zelda Link's Awakening would be a really good way, I think, to incentivize people to pick it up again.
Yeah, with Game Boy games, with Game Boy remakes, single Joy-Con control schemes are really like a good idea, especially when it comes to multiplayer, that is. So I'm definitely hoping that makes the cut. That definitely help it reach the $60.
I think one of the things I'm actually most excited about with Link's Awakening specifically is it had so many like random Nintendo references included in it. Like, we already saw the Goombas and the Chain Chomp in the trailer. But there was also Wart was in it from Super Mario Bros. 2. There was Prince Richard For the Frog the Bells Toll. There was what's his name? There was a Yoshi soft toy. Peach appeared in a photograph. There's Kirby as an enemy in it. Like, I'm wondering. I'm assuming they're all going to remain because we've already seen the Goomba and we've even seen the Gordo from Kirby.
Yeah, I mean,
so I am curious how it will look.
They are Nintendo stuff. It's not they have any reason to take it out. It's like with it's not like it's big. I mean, I don't even know where I was going with that. The point is, I could definitely see them remaining. Why would they take them out? They were like a good point to the game's charm.
Yeah, no, it's just I'm wondering. Mainly, I think the Kirby being the enemy is the weird one I'm thinking of, because I think it was called like Anti-Kirby or something like that. So I'm wondering, now that the game's going to be in color, because obviously Link's Awakening was in black and white, I wonder what color it's going to be. Will it just look like Kirby, or are they going to make it like a white Kirby?
I bet the Anti-Kirby, hence the name, is probably going to be like a bit different from the real Kirby, to at least like give players like, you know, an indication that they didn't just kill Kirby.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, because Kirby's like Kirby's a protagonist, so having him be just an enemy in Zelda, it seems like it's going to be a bit weird. But I'm excited to see this stuff, especially Prince Richard, who like hasn't been seen in any game since the last Link's Awakening. Well, I guess he was a trophy in Melee, and I think he might have been a spirit in Ultimate, but those are more like very brief cameos. There's no proper role there. But yeah, no, but Link's Awakening doesn't have a date yet, much like a lot of the later ones. And we actually didn't see anything from Luigi's Mansion or Animal Crossing in that latest Nintendo Direct. Pokemon as well, but Pokemon always does its own thing, so I wasn't really expecting it. What do you think that sort of means for Luigi's Mansion and Animal Crossing? Do you think they're still going to try and make it this year? Do you think they're going to be very late this year, and that's why they weren't shown off?
I think since they debuted, like in the last Direct, I don't think it was really a priority to get to them this one, since this one had a lot of announcements. So I don't think they're gonna be delayed for next year or anything. But I do expect them to, like, should get a bigger reveal like next time Nintendo does a Direct or E3 or whatever. So I expect them to get like the spotlight next time.
Yeah, potentially.
So,
I mean,
yeah, I think they're fine. I think they're just fine.
I'm just wondering about Nintendo having a very big, like too much of a packed second half of the year, because there was one really weird thing that this Direct kind of showed, and that's like the first half of the year has basically nothing from them. Like, there's Yoshi, obviously, which is their big game that comes out in March. And then there's Box Boy and Box Girl, and that's going to be a download game, and that's really good. I'm really excited about that because I love the Box Boy series. I even have the QB amiibo that didn't release that side of Japan, so I was like, I really hope that you can use that in this game.
I'm almost like I am pretty certain that this Box Boy amiibo is going to be like brought over to America, or I mean, everywhere now that Box Boy is now on the Switch, which is a big deal. So I think that they probably made the Box Boy amiibo in mind that they're gonna make more Box Boy games. So I bet that they're gonna I bet they're gonna bring it over.
I'm not convinced on that personally, and I'll tell you why. So I got the Box Boy amiibo before Box Boy 3 came out over here in the West. And then when it eventually did, I got it and I was super excited. I was like, I can use the QB amiibo. And they actually disabled that ability in the Western version. You couldn't use the QB amiibo in the Western game for some reason. And which kind of makes me worried about like future games. Like Box Boy and Box Girl will probably have QB amiibo compatibility. But if they disabled it in the past game, it doesn't sound to me like they ever plan on bringing it over. And they may disable it in the next game. And if Mario Maker 2 has amiibo functionality as well, like it did in the last game for costumes, will the QB amiibo work on it? I hope it does. I mean, you can get the costumes in other ways as well, and I think QB would fit quite well into Mario Maker.
Well, I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on this, but I think that Kirby Star Allies and Battle Royale let you use the QB amiibo no matter where you were. To get, like, like in Battle Royale, you'd get a special bomb copyability costume, and in Star Allies, if you tapped any HAL-made amiibo, you'd get, like, more benefits than usual. So I think QB, at least they're trying to make them work in, like, change their mind on what they did with Box Boy 3.
Okay, I'll have to check that, because QB's the only... I know if you... tapped any of the Kirby amiibo in Star Allies, you got something special based around that character. But the only other HAL amiibo is the QB one, so I'm not quite.
I just said HAL made just to match Kirby and QB, because I'm pretty sure people tried him and he worked to give you he acted like a Kirby one.
I mean, my thought is is he just treated like a regular amiibo, or is he treated like a QB amiibo? Like they acknowledge that it's this one specifically.
Well, in Star Allies, when you tap an amiibo, it does like a tiny bit of stuff. But like I said, if it's like a Kirby's one, or like they at least acknowledge that's from the Kirby series, then they'll give you more. So I don't think QB would be acknowledged as a generic amiibo in Star Allies. At most, it'd be like, oh, I don't know what this is, but it's definitely a HAL one, so I'm just gonna give them the extra benefits. I'm not sure how that works.
Okay, I'll have to double check that and make sure, because that would be nice then. That would be better, because at the moment, I don't feel like they will bring that amiibo over. But I am glad that they're bringing Box Boy and Box Girl over. Anyway, Mario Maker 2 is also technically first half of the year, even if it's very late first half of the year.
Yeah, I think it's still releasing at a very good time, at a time when Nintendo has a lot of buzz around them because of E3. So,
do you think it will release before or after E3?
I think after E3. I think
E3.
They're gonna give it like one last spotlight, not much, but like with ARMS, how ARMS was after E3, they're gonna give it one more thing at E3 just to talk about the game coming out and how they'll support it in the future.
Okay.
And then after E3 they'll release it.
See, I think they'll do it before E3, and then I think they'll have like a Mario Maker 2 sort of tournament level type thing, like when they did the Nintendo World Championship and it ended on Mario Maker, and they had to speedrun those custom created Mario levels.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I can't be sure. I'm just guessing.
Yeah. I think they'll do the same thing with Mario Maker 2 and have Mario Maker 2 launch very early in June. Because the problem here with the first half is obviously there's nothing in May. Mm-hmm. And I would have thought that like this would be the time to announce a game for May. We can assume the Smash DLC releases in April as well.
I hope that Nintendo doesn't think Joker can carry them unless they have like a second character for April.
Well, I mean, they said they did say it would be by the end of April. So if it was like Yoshi in March, and then there's also Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn in March as well, which I just remembered. But that's the 3DS title. And then Box Boy and the Smash DLC in April. But then there's nothing for May so far. And I'm not sure, because it's been a bit of an awkward time when they've had this Direct in February. It's almost like, when will the next Direct be? Will they do one in May? Or is that going to be too close to E3? Unless they do a micro Direct or a mini Direct.
Can I quickly take like a quick fantasy, not really fantasy, but like kind of guess at what could happen in May to kind of, occupy that?
Go for it. Go for it.
Pokemon has always like to do its own thing, so I think while it might not have like any crazy giant announcements, I think they're gonna reveal Gen 8 like really soon, like end of February soon. And when they do that, they might do like what they do with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon and reveal some more stuff, like how they revealed Ultra Sun and Moon at the same time as Pokken DX. Maybe they'll reveal something for May at the same time they reveal Gen 8 now. Obviously that's a really short time window, but I think something could actually work, so maybe, if I'm really lucky, they could, port Super Mystery Dungeon or something like that to kind of occupy Pokemon fans and give May something. I'm not saying that that's likely, I'm just saying that maybe Pokemon has something.
Pokemon Snap 2.
Overrated. Who said that?
Or Hey You Pikachu Switch.
I was really... When I heard the Let's Go rumors, I hoped that it was Hey You Pikachu HD.
I mean, we could see a Pokemon spin-off. Actually, you know what could go very well in May? A Detective Pikachu port for Switch.
I mean, it could go very well, but I'm just
with the movie coming out this year, I think having a game to tie alongside it is pretty much a guarantee. And I think because Detective Pikachu obviously released on 3DS like the same month the Switch came out, I think, or maybe it was a year after. I can't remember if it came out last year or 2 years ago.
It came out last year.
Okay, so it came out during this time where the Switch is out, where a lot of 3DS games haven't done as well. I could see them bringing it over to Switch and having it launch either just before the movie or just alongside the movie or just after the movie.
Alright, fair enough. But again, just fair warning. If they port a Pokemon game from the 3DS that didn't do as well as it could have, and it's not Super Mystery Dungeon and Detective Pikachu, I'm gonna go crazy. So just watch out.
Might want to brace yourself then, because I feel like it's gonna happen.
I've already taken as much Mystery Dungeon pain as I can with Chocobo.
Well, continuing then on to the second half of the year. I mean, that's where everything seems to be sort of coming out. Like, I was surprised that Astral Chain they gave a release date for, like, end of August. It's the same time as Wonderful 101 came out on the Wii U, so I almost feel like that's their designated platinum month now. Because I think Bayonetta 2 came out in September, so not too long after that. So, but Astral Chain was a really nice present. It's probably my favourite thing in the Direct, actually, because it just kind of came out of nowhere and it looks really, really cool. And I think it's a new IP that could do really well. Like, I always want new IPs to do well. I wanted Ever Oasis to do well. I'd like Daemon X Machina to do well. And I'd like... oh god. What's the other one? Oh man,
wait,
that
Sushi Striker?
Help. What, sorry?
Sushi Striker?
Yeah, Sushi Striker, that was it. I wanted that one to do well, and I don't think they did. But Astral Chain, I think, could get enough hype to do well.
Like, it does look very good. Like,
yeah.
I remember I never played a Platinum game, but I remember when I saw that, my first reaction was, "Oh, great, they co-op JRPG." But then they started pulling out these like stand things and doing this crazy stuff. So that was like a really hype game for the people who are bored by the JRPG. So I think the game has a lot of hype around it.
Yeah, no, I think it was definitely a very good game to sort of have at the end there after everything else, and it being a new IP to get such a focus was really cool. It reminded me of when Daemon X Machina opened E3.
I mean, it didn't remind me of that because when Daemon X Machina came out, I was just thinking, "Give me Smash," so I didn't even pay any attention.
Yeah, I guess it did get a bit overshadowed there, didn't it? But no,
Yeah,
but Astral Chain looks
odds.
cool. Like I hope it does really well, and I want to see more of it. I kind of want the main characters to be in Smash. Like if they're going to do any first-party promotional character this time around, make it the policeman or policewoman from Astral Chain. We don't know their names yet.
Yeah, let them join Bayo as the Platinum reps. I mean, they have clearly they have so much to add. So if this game does well and there's like a season 2 or whatever, then I'd say they're like a pretty likely third-party rep.
No, they're not third-party though. Astral Chain's a Nintendo series, which is why it's on this list. Yeah, Astral Chain is in the same situation as Wonderful 101 is.
Wait, but does that make Bayonetta third-party? Wait, is Bayonetta not third-party then? I'm kind of confused on that.
Yeah, Bayonetta's in a weird place. It's because Sega owns the rights to the Bayonetta series.
Oh, okay.
So, Sega owns Bayonetta. Platinum are the developers of Bayonetta, but the content of Bayonetta 2 and Bayonetta 2 the game is owned by Nintendo because they were the ones who funded it and published it instead. But Sega still owns the, overall
franchise.
IP, and the overall franchise. And the same thing's going to happen with Bayonetta 3. So Bayonetta's kind of a third party, kind of not a third party.
Right, okay. Thanks for
if Sega ever wanted to use her outside of Nintendo, they would have to use the Bayonetta 1 version of Bayonetta. They wouldn't be able to use the Bayonetta 2 or 3 version.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for clarifying that. I wasn't really sure on that.
That's alright. I've had quite a few people ask me about this with Astral Chain, actually. I had some people DM me on Twitter asking whether or not Astral Chain was a Nintendo property or not, because they weren't quite sure.
Well,
I think they were asking because of Smash.
With every Nintendo Direct, with every new IP, whenever you see them, the first thing is, how would they work in Smash?
Yeah, exactly.
Stringman, Inkling, and now these cops, it's all the same. Not like I blame them, because they want a new IP to be in Smash, because it kind of I think adds a sense of they're really Nintendo All-Stars and they're in Smash, so that if they're in Smash, then that means, well then this is a new franchise that I can look forward to seeing more of, so I can understand that mindset.
No, I think that as well. I think that when a series gets into Smash, it's this is big leagues now, even if it's something like Earthbound or Xenoblade. I'm pretty sure that Shulk getting into Smash has helped the Xenoblade series
100%
gain more traction.
Yeah, 100%. That's it really took off after Shulk made into Smash, even though I know they planned X obviously before Shulk in Smash, but the popularity that Xenoblade's gotten since, I think, was a result of Shulk being in Smash, which is also why I'm surprised Elma or Rex didn't make it in, at least for now.
Yeah, well, I mean, Sakurai mentioned that another Xenoblade character would have been in if had the development of this game started a bit later. He said pretty much that Rex would have made it, but
I think Elma
found out about too late.
Yeah, I think Elma was still fair enough. I know she's not. I think they're going to continue with the X Xenoblade game, so I think Elma was fair game.
Same. Well, the other two games then, Mario Maker 2 and Fire Emblem Three Houses. Obviously two major games that Nintendo have been pushing. Fire Emblem Three Houses, I'm the more I've seen of it, and the more I've listened to it without commentary and stuff like that, just watch the trailers, the more I'm interested in it and a bit more excited for it, because I was a little bummed down by how it looked, especially the characters, when I was watching the trailer.
Yeah, I thought the world looked pretty barren, and it's so this looks a bit like a ported 3DS game. Not literally, but it kind of could have had more character with the Switch is what I mean.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of the characters, because they all seem to be wearing school uniforms, the only thing that you can tell them apart is their hair color. No, not even their faces. Maybe some with their faces if they got a slightly different body type. But there were so many that just looked the same person. This one has green hair, this one has blue hair, etc. Which is a shame, because in Awakening and Fates, people can say what they want about those games, but each of the characters had a very unique design that stood out.
Yes, very unique.
Yes, well, it's true. They you can tell. I mean, you can just all you have to do is look at Heroes, and you can tell that each of the Awakening characters are pretty unique looking. Whereas in Shadow Dragon, Marth's game, a lot of the characters look the same, and that's the sort of vibe I'm getting from this one. And that
I didn't know that Eliwood was a character. I thought he was just Roy.
Yeah, well, that's because they're father and son. But I think because there seems to be a lot of customization in this Fire Emblem, that every unit starts off as a noble class and then can be promoted into whatever class you want them to be promoted into. That's probably why they're a bit generic, but I'm really hoping that it doesn't go through the same route as Shadow Dragon did, where basically there's no supports and every unit is basically a blank slate that you can do what you want with. Because while it's a cool idea, it means that I wasn't not nearly as invested into the characters as
you can't make unique designs for every single NPC, so I'm not unique designs for each class of every single unit you have. So that's going to be a bit of a problem unless there's a one unit that they're meant to be. It's kind of weird. I'm sure they'll get they'll do something.
I mean, that's possibly it. That because every unit starts off as a noble, of course they have the same outfit, and then when they class change, they'll change outfits, and you can have them look varied. And that might be by the end of the game how everyone looks different and stands out. But we'll have to see if there are slight variations on the outfit for each character, or will every mage look the same? Will every horse rider look the same, etc. I guess we'll see. And
I was a bit bored at first. Sorry, but what were you saying?
No, sorry, go on. No.
Oh, I was at first I was kind of bored with the beginning narration. I was like, oh, 3 parts of the same continent live in harmony. I'm like, okay, just whatever, just skip this. But I was at least interested in the whole idea of you being a teacher and you teaching your units what to do. So that, even though I never played a Fire Emblem and don't think I will, I at least think this game is definitely an interesting turn, at least conceptually. And I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how it turns out, as long as no one gets in Smash.
Yeah, fair enough. I agree with you, though. The exposition was a bit long and boring. It was kind of like I had the Xenoblade 2 flashbacks, where they put the feature on that and spent the first 5 minutes explaining the world, and it's a bit okay, but I don't need to know this, to be honest.
Yeah, fair enough, but I'm thinking at least with Xenoblade, it's these people live on giant sentient beings, and they have different ways of worshipping them or using them as animals. Okay, this is really interesting, even though I didn't get the game, it's at least cool to see what kind of world this is, but here it's just it's a continent, it has religion, 3 people, okay, go.
Yeah, no, I agree. So the last game, I guess, then is Mario Maker 2, or the last game for the first half, or the ones with release dates. And this looks really, really good. I think.
Yeah, it's funny. I missed the most. I just saw slopes, and then my stream turned off. But when I did get back, I was like, wait a minute, 3D world? Okay, I'm definitely buying this now, because I think the idea of taking 3D Mario aesthetics and ideas and porting it to 2D is always a good idea. So it's seeing the cat suit in 2D is a really cool idea. And
I agree. I fully agree with you on that. One of the things I was saying during the live stream was if they could do this with other 3D Mario games,
people would
Mario
love to see Flood
Sunshine.
and Cappy in 2D. People would love to see Flood and Cappy in 2D. That'd be really cool. I could see that even being some kind of DLC or something. Obviously, what we have right now is 3D World, but that's still really good.
Yeah.
Good for a sign.
Yeah, no, an Odyssey or the Sunshine would be the most interesting ones. You could do Galaxy if you could somehow get the gravity mechanics in. You could do 64, but I'm not quite sure what...
I feel that'd just be for aesthetics and a bit of different physics,
Yeah.
Which, would be welcome. The more styles, the better. But I'm just saying it wouldn't be as interesting as 3D World, since it brings new power-ups and stuff.
Yeah, 3D World brings new power-ups. Sunshine would bring the Flood, and Odyssey could bring the Cappy taking over enemies.
And maybe even Capture,
Yeah, that maybe that'd be too much, but I think it would allow for really interesting worlds that you can go for.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it might. Like I said, like I definitely don't see that being ready. Like if Cappy would ever be added, which I do think he could one day be added into the Mario Maker series, let's say. But for now, I don't think he'd be at the launch of this game. This game has enough as is, enough complexity. So just give us the game you got, and maybe see where it goes from there. Maybe DLC or maybe just next generation. But I think Cappy's inevitable.
Yeah, the only thing that puts me gets in the way of that for me is that this game seems to have like 4 playable characters, like Mario, Luigi, Toad, and Toadette. And
I really don't
presumably each one has like different physics and stuff, because otherwise, what's the difference between adding them or just the Mii costumes, which I'm assuming will come back for the NES mode?
I doubt that they're playable in every version because it's like
they might be.
I can't be sure. I'm just saying what I think. I'm not sure. I mean, we saw Cat Toadette, so we can know she'll be in 3D worlds, for example, or at least guess. So
Yeah.
I mean, for the 3D modes, I bet. I mean that just what I mean. I'm just thinking not every mode needs to have multiple playable characters because there are a lot of modes and physics can be different physics. Like, didn't they give like a Luigi mushroom? So do they really need Luigi to have different physics?
I mean, this is the thing, right? Luigi's been in all of these games, so there's no reason to not add him in. Like, that's my logic behind it. He's always been a part of every single one of this. It's not like Toad and Toadette especially, they'd have to make a new model for her for every single mode other than New Super Mario Brothers mode. And Toad will have to have a Super Mario World model completely made from scratch. But
I'm thinking,
I don't think that there's... I think that's something they would do to go the extra mile.
I mean, fair enough, but I'm just kind of thinking, like, with New Super Mario Bros., like, maybe they could just, like, keep them in kind of like as pseudo-costumes for Mario, where in the non-NES Mario styles, you do have some more options outside of just Mario by having these different character models, even though they don't have... Well, whether they have different physics or not, I think they're kind of meant to be like an alternative to costumes, since you obviously can't make costumes for every style. So that's kind of what I'm thinking the role they'll have, but again, can't be sure.
I guess we'll just see. And so the last game, then, the one we haven't talked about, is Daemon X Machina, which had a demo come out. Have you tried the demo?
Nope, sorry, I didn't try any demos.
That's alright. I tried the demo this morning, and seems okay. I like that you can make your own character, and I'm hoping you can unlock more styles in the full game. But I quite enjoyed actually being able to customize it. You can customize skin color, hairstyle, outfits, color and stuff. I'm hoping you can change other things, eyebrows, eye style, or a face shape.
Yeah,
gender as well. Like that was cool. But the actual flying robot section just seemed a bit slow. To be fair, these are obviously the very early missions. Boosting around is fun, but the actual shooting is a bit slow. And maybe I just had the basic gun. But while I thought it was fun, after doing the first mission, I was like, I'm just going to kind of go off and play something else now.
Yeah, that's not a... I mean, I hope that it adds more customization. I'm not thinking of picking it up because I don't really pick up that much games, but it does look interesting. I hope that the gameplay will get past whatever is making it repetitive. Like, I hope that it adds a lot of variety in terms of how you can customize besides just, cosmetics.
Mm-hmm.
So that it can be more interesting and really feel like you are the one defeat the one playing and not just a random mech that they give you, like an actual thing you've created, which is always important, like a Starlink.
Yeah. That would be good. So that's everything we know then for
we didn't
this
mention
year.
Yoshi, though. I don't think we mentioned Yoshi, right?
We kind of mentioned Yoshi at the beginning. Is there much to mention about Yoshi? I mean, the demo's out, and I played the demo, and it's really fun. I really, really liked it, and that's a good sign because I really liked Woolly World, and this one feels like better than Woolly World. They really get a lot of mileage out of each individual stage. Like, traditionally in Yoshi games, there are only 5 flowers per stage, and this one has that 5. But then there's a 3 more for getting all the coins finishing the level with all your life and all that. Then you get another 3 from finding all the Poochie Pups when you do the stage in reverse. And then a 4th one by finding all the Poochie Pups under a certain time. And then there's also a hidden collectible on every single level that will get you another flower. Which is quite a lot.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
That is a lot. I mean, Yoshi's like one of the only Mario like universe you could say platformers I'm not really into because I like Mario because it's simple and fun, and Donkey Kong is like really good, but with Yoshi I'm kind of have trouble getting into it because I feel like it's a bit slow and like I'm not a fan of. I like being able to just run through a level and on my first try and get everything, like with getting all the Kong letters and the puzzle pieces on my first time through, and then if only rarely having to go back for the rest. But with Yoshi, it feels like you have to like just expect to make multiple runs through a single level to make sure you get everything. And to be fair, Mario's 3D World had that too, with that stupid thing where you had to play every level with every character to get 100%. But I still think the experience was fine without having to return, and I don't like that Yoshi kind of limits that a bit.
You don't need to return in Yoshi games. I mean, the thing with Yoshi games is that the world is like a puzzle sometimes. So you have to figure out like which route to take, how many eggs you're going to need, what to hit, when to jump off an enemy. Like you have to, unlike Donkey Kong, which has got really challenging platforming, but it's all about running forward, Yoshi is much more open with its level design, and has you going back sometimes to find items, or going under the stage to look for stuff, and all that. But you can easily find everything on your first try if you're willing to sit down and explore a level, I suppose, if you're not rushing through the level.
Okay, then I think it's a personal problem with me. I'm just... I guess since I just played Donkey Kong, then went to Woolly World, I was like, okay, when's the temple stage?
Yeah, no, that's a drop in difficulty for sure. Yoshi's more difficult than Mario, but it's easier than Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
So
yeah, fair enough.
So I guess as we wrap this discussion up, then, what are your thoughts on like what do you think could happen in 2019? Because obviously we've got quite a bit here, possibly more than we had last year in 2018. But do you think there's anything else that they could be announcing? Do you think this is going to be our lineup, and any new game from now on is going to be a 2020 game, or do you think there could be more? Like, I feel like if there's more, surely they'd have to announce it sooner, because surely it must be first half of this year, unless the last half is like absolutely jam-packed with 2 games coming out every like few weeks.
I still maintain that Pokemon will probably have some stuff for us this year, because they always like to maintain hype for the series throughout the year with side games, apps, and stuff like that, which they've kind of been a little lacking in actual side games. So I think we're going to see some of those. Like the last one was Pokken DX, which was a port, and Detective Pikachu, which was like a Japan exclusive for a long time. So I definitely expect more from Pokemon. I'm going to try and avoid Mystery Dungeon details. But yeah, I'd mentioned that too much. But besides that, I can definitely see us getting more stuff. Like, I think E3 will probably have some day one small stuff to continue that whole Switch Online special deals that Tetris was. Like, I expect more of that. And I also think we could get more DLC, because I think it's kind of weird that of all the Wii U ports to give DLC to, it was Captain Toad. Because I think that a lot that we get more hyped over Mario Kart DLC or even Donkey Kong DLC, just something like that. So I'm thinking we're going to see more DLC from those series and games.
Yeah, Captain Toad, I felt like a Captain Toad 2 would have been better. I'm a bit iffy on DLC for Wii U ports, because I obviously didn't pick up Captain Toad Switch because I had it on the Wii U, and I didn't feel there was any need to do it. And now, like, I don't feel like there's any... Like, I'm not going to buy a game just so I can then buy the DLC.
Yeah, totally.
And this is my fear with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, because I didn't buy Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It's the only Mario Kart game I haven't bought, because I already had Mario Kart 8 and I already had all the DLC for Mario Kart 8. So the only thing I was really missing was the battle mode. And I didn't think that was enough to justify buying it again. But if they add DLC, then am I going to have to buy a game again to buy the DLC for it?
Mario Kart 8
What?
Deluxe, Mario Kart 8 in general just loves draining me. I bought the first, I bought the DLC, and now I bought Deluxe, and I'll gladly take any DLC it gives me. Like, I really like that. I really like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and I think it added enough content to be a Deluxe, but I understand if you don't think it's enough to,
Yeah.
warrant buying
Well,
again, but I thought it was, I thought it wasn't worth it. I got I got a few hundred hours or whatever on Deluxe
fair.
after hundreds of hours on the first Mario Kart 8, so, I'm
Fair.
good.
No, is this the reason that I didn't buy Hyrule Warriors either, and I hope they don't do DLC for Hyrule Warriors, because I love that game, and I like put 400 hours into the Wii U one and got all the characters to max level and got all the DLC. And at least with the 3DS to Wii U DLC, the Wii U still got the characters, even if they didn't get the adventure maps. But if they then, I don't expect them to go back if they added DLC onto the Switch version to then add it to the Wii U and 3DS versions.
Oh yeah, definitely not. I think definitive. I think they're serious when they say definitive edition. Like, our Warriors probably done, especially since they're working on other Warriors like Fire Emblem and please Kirby Warriors. So also speaking of which I also expect, just to quickly throw it out there, I expect something from Kirby this year. It's not anything big, like something small, since Kirby does have like at least some kind of presence every year. So I expect something from him.
I could see a small eShop game for Kirby, like how we had DDD
like
Drum Dash or whatever it was before. Like,
we had a
I could
bunch
see
of
something like that.
eShop games for Kirby.
Yeah, well, that's true. I can see that. I think one thing we are going to get is another Labo kit. I think that could very well be what they release in April or May to fill out that gap, being the fourth Labo kit. Now, I don't think that's necessarily going to do the best, but that's definitely something. And
They're probably holding out on extra epic yarn probably holding out extra epic yarn to take us to June.
I'm sure. Oh yeah, that's definitely going to be the game that holds us all off.
Speaking of which, rest in peace, spouse of that story. You deserved way better than to be the worst selling Mario game. I didn't get the remake because who did? But I had the original.
No one did.
But I had the original and I loved it.
Same. Yeah, it was the worst Mario and Luigi. But anyway.
Wait, what was that?
Anyway, I think that we'll get some kind of hardware from Nintendo this year as well, whether it be the rumored Switch Mini or whether it be the rumored Switch VR. I think we're going to see one of them this year.
I do see them doing a Switch Mini. I think Nintendo will probably stick with what they said a while back, that they don't really want to do VR, because I don't even see how the Switch, this kind of social console, would really lend itself well to VR. But I do see a Switch Mini, like, definitely. I saw this really cool design on Twitter. It was like a clamshell where it's like all the controls were on the bottom one and you could actually see the Switch screen on the top. That'd be like a really cool, and I think that'd sell really well for the people who are on the fence about getting a home console.
Yeah, no, a handheld-only DS-looking Switch could be an interesting idea. My only thing with that is I feel like you'd have to have the detachable Joy-Cons still, even on a Switch Mini, because the Joy-Cons for like loads of games is how you sort of, work with them. Like, you have to... There are some games like Mario Party where you can't have the Joy-Cons attached. You have to take them off.
Well, so Mario Party is more of a...
Yeah, but like, they're not going to make it so, here's this Switch Mini, but it can't play every single game because you can't remove the Joy-Cons. And
well,
they're not going to have it be... No, it just doesn't feel very Nintendo-like. And what happens if you need to get new controllers?
What if I wanted what if I wanted to play Xenoblade 3D on my original 3DS? I was out of luck.
Yeah, but there's a difference there. That's like a new 3DS is treated like a new system, like the Game Boy Color was or the DSi was. Whereas I don't think the Switch Mini is going to be treated like a new system, because I don't think... What reason is there to treat it like a new system? Especially because the new 3DS didn't take away anything from the regular 3DS. But the Switch Mini would take stuff away from the regular Switch.
I mean, that's fair enough, but I'm just kind of thinking that with saying how Super Mario Party and, like, for example, Snipper Clips are, like, meant to be home console two people couch multiplayer kind of games. I don't think that even lends itself well to a handheld like the Switch Mini, so I could see them just being like, it's not really a big deal if those don't work on our handheld only game anyway, so especially since a Switch Mini would be made just so you could play mainly single player games like Mario Odyssey or like, you know.
No, I disagree with this. I mean, the very fact that the Switch has a tabletop mode so that you can play with people when you're not at home and have it laid out on the, like, what you're saying with the Switch Mini is you wouldn't just lose the TV mode, you'd also lose the ability to do tabletop mode. It would literally just be handheld and nothing else. And that doesn't feel right. Like, there's no reason to not have tabletop mode as well. Like, you're making it cheaper by removing TV mode. That's the whole idea of having a portable only one. But
kind of like how the 2DS just took out the 3D. I know the 3D isn't really comparable to the TV and tabletop modes, but I still think that Nintendo has done budget versions of their systems before, so that they can, like, you know, remove features that people won't need.
Yeah, but they can remove the TV. They can remove the TV mode for a feature that no one needs. But then the tabletop mode, again, removing the tabletop mode and the TV mode means that you can't play every single game. Whereas at least the 2DS, you could play every 3DS game, even if some didn't work. Well, you know, even if the 3D would have been helpful for some of them, you could still play it. Whereas you physically wouldn't be able to play Mario Party if you can't remove the Joy-Cons.
Yeah, I guess that's fair enough. I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess that is a problem that you can't really get past. So I didn't really think of that. Maybe. All
right, I think it's time to wrap this up. So I want to thank you, Hamada, for joining me for this discussion. And I want to give a special thanks to all of our patrons who are going to be on the screen right now. In particular, the super patron, the Duke of Dorks. Link to his channel is in the description below. As always, hit that like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what games you're looking forward to in 2019 and if you've got any predictions. And always remember to return to the source.